Good evening, I'm back. I'm Jack Remington of the Jack Remington NFL channel. Sorry I was gone for a couple of weeks. Had to attend something very personal out of state for one of my daughters. The issue has been resolved. I want to thank Fishang for his hard work on the contest, the Soup Simulator. I believe he took it over from Delivery Man 3. I also thank Fishang for everything he's done, and he continues to do an excellent, outstanding job, and he has complete faith from his loyal followers. That's why this contest simulator is successful in my opinion. I'm going to talk a little bit about my fun friend. I'm working on getting him on the camera. I'm going to want to have to pay this guy. I can smell it a mile away. He's retired now, and it's our Eddie Mush type guy. And I was 5-0 against him this year, even though I'm having one of my worst seasons ever of all time. I'd beaten him 5 times in a row, and the Thursday night game, I even had Tampa on the money line. He wanted the Falcons, and he only bets me $5. So, or I shouldn't say bet. Let's call it units. I don't want the cops knocking on my door. They're going to say I'm taking advantage of a senior citizen, even though I'm a year older than he is, believe it or not. How can the Falcons lose that game? Let me start off by saying this is the third time this year I lost a game, either on a contest or a personal fun thing, for no money, just for bragging rights, let's say. The third time I lost a game, the first opening, the game Baltimore and Buffalo, they were 99.1% for like 4 minutes left to win that game, and they lost. The second one was Cincinnati was 92% to win over the Bears, and the guy they couldn't tackle. The guy went off from 50 yards out in the midfield, and that was the end of that. And now this one, they were 90% chance to win this game with 3:03 left, whatever it was. The play calling, when you got the Falcons burning their timeouts, I never seen Todd Bowles do this before, not that I can remember. Seen Andy Reid do it many times when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles. And a couple times with Kansas City, he's hoisted several Lombardis. I can't make fun of Andy Reid anymore, can I? But Todd Bowles, I thought he knew better, and he's pretty crafty head coach. Apparently giving too much power to his offensive coordinator and too much power to his defensive coordinator. He needs to pull Bill Belichick and start grinding the nose a little bit. Because he's got the horses. He either got to get them in shape, or if they're really truly injured, he's got to tell his coordinators, hey, look, you got to sit on the bench for a couple of weeks till you get healthy. And that includes Baker Mayfield. I want to point this out, too. If Baker Mayfield gets that last sack that they had, if he can escape that and get 6, 7, 8 yards, then they win the game. But Baker Mayfield's playing hurt. That was the 5th sack, I believe, that they got Baker Mayfield on. And they got the Falcons quarterback, Kirk Cousins, on one time, and that was when they were going to make their last stand. It looked like they were going to win the game. Right around that time, I remember they were still like 90% chance to win that game. That's a stat I look at a lot. I look at the quarterback sacks. And if you can go through the box scores and just game after game after game, the team that gets the most quarterback sacks usually wins the game. Every now and then you'll get an anomaly where one time they sacked Green Bay. They sacked Aaron Rodgers 7 times, and Green Bay got 1 sack. And it was that catch in the end zone. It wasn't a catch, or it was a catch. Did they have it long enough? I can't remember who they were playing at the moment. I have some notes here, but this is off the script. This is off the notes. The Super Bowl I keep talking about, I lost enough of people making a year off. Tyree kept the ball in his head. That's the Giants beating my undefeated Tom Brady. They sacked Brady 5 times. They never got to Eli Manning 1 time. And go back and look at the box score. My point is, the quarterback sacks is a very important statistic. You got to be able to predict, is the team going to come on fire, or is in a little bit of a slump. And one of my good wins the other week was I had the Texans over the Chiefs, because they got 0 quarterback sacks for a couple of games. And I thought, well, they got to step it up. And they got a couple quarterback sacks on C.J. Stroud. And the Chiefs had done some things a little differently. And again, Andy Reid, the old Andy Reid came in as going for on 4th and 2 and stuff like that, and he didn't make it. Against the number 1 defense in the NFL. I'm just talking NFL stuff here. And Mushy got me, and now he's calling all our friends, and he's online. I got that Spaceman. I used to be called Rocket Man. A couple other names. My eBay name, old name, Calamera Collectibles. And I got that cow. I got that Rocket Man. Whatever he called himself, some space cadet or whatever he called me. He called me Space Cadet. One of the guys. He's so confident now. He says, "You don't have to pay me next time." I said, "You don't think I can pay you $5, Mush?" Tampa Bay's in serious trouble. One last thing I want to make a comment about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A little bit I saw. That game was so bizarre. That game was so bad. If you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan or whatever, or a Baker Mayfield fan, whatever you are, or Todd Bowles fan. I turned, just to wind down last night around 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, I turned on YouTube, and the first video that hit my feed was last 15 minutes of the Tampa Bay Atlanta game. How they could Tampa. So I watched it. I watched it again and listened to the guys commenting. And they're pretty good handicappers. from what I understand. But Baker Mayfield's last pass, he threw it behind Ibuka, the wide receiver. If Baker Mayfield makes that catch, they win the game. Let's get to the picks, and I'm trying to keep them in rotational order. I am taking the Buffalo Bills -1. And I had New England when they beat the Bills the first time, and that was at Buffalo. Had a good read on that game, and New England was my favorite team for 30 years. I mean, before Tom Brady got there, and after Tom Brady got there, I still have a soft spot for the New England Patriots. Pardon me. I'm still feeling under the weather a little bit. Couldn't go to the gym, couldn't do any of that. Anyway, I go back to the doctor Monday. But I hope I look okay. I look like death warmed over. I actually made the video, but I look so bad, and I got my wife and my daughter, and he said, you can't put that on YouTube. Since you can't do that, so I didn't. Back to the game. I think Josh Allen is playing at a high level. I think Josh Allen is a great quarterback. I think Josh Allen, he's a Joe Montana. He's up in that league. He makes plays. And he went to University of Wyoming, and that's one of my favorite schools, by the way. And Wyoming is my favorite state. I just think Josh Allen is great. It's going to dawn on him and his agent. Your window's closing, and if you don't do it this year, you start looking at maybe making a better deal. Maybe being a backup to Stafford. I think Matthew Stafford of the Rams, how much longer is he going to be playing? He played his first either 12 or 13 years with Detroit, and he wanted out, and he got out. And Goff, he got into the Super Bowl with the Rams, but they were, Los Angeles is a big media market. A lot of bullshit, a lot of crap. A lot of the sports media is trash today. They're getting the clicks. And Belichick said this. He got that 24-year-old cheerleader, and this basketball player said that. Who cares? Let's stay with the sports. I mean, in my opinion, sports media, when I grew up in the 60s and 70s, was far, far better. Would tell stories about how Johnny Unitas, for that 10-cent phone call from Pittsburgh Steelers general manager, and he couldn't even say his name. He called him Unitas over the phone. He goes, I can't even say the guy's name. Unitas, did I spell it right? United States, was that his name? Josh Allen, and I've seen some other videos, and I put it on a blog post on pregame.com. I think Josh Allen's going to wake up, and he's going to think, you know what, this team, they didn't do enough for their defense, and it might be time to move on. And I look for him to lobby a team. And off the top of my head, I mean, he wants to go to a winner. Maybe he goes to Philadelphia. Maybe he goes to the Chicago Bears if Caleb Williams doesn't show his worth. I like what I've seen out of Caleb Williams this year, but he's got a winning team this year. It's easy to say about a quarterback when the team is winning and they're stealing games. How are they winning? Now all of a sudden the quarterback is okay. Well, he's not okay. But Josh Allen, I think, is a different breed of cat. I think Buffalo's going to come. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at New England. They know they need this game to have any shot. And also, if they drop this game, that could threaten their seeding for a wild card. If they lose this game, New England has got the division locked up. Just my opinion. What I know, if Buffalo loses this game to New England, they have to win out. And New England's got to lose at least 2 of the next games to have a chance to get into the division title. And they've won it for so many years in a row after Tom Brady, Belichick's reign. 18 of the 20 years. 2 times New England didn't win the AFC East. 1 year Miami was a one and done under Bill Parcells, was the general manager. There was another time that New England didn't win the division. I can't remember who won it. I like my Buffalo pick. I know Buffalo's got bad defense. Here's the thing about New England. Okay, I know I've said great things about Drake May at times, but I've seen them play really bad, and I was pissed I lost that Falcons game. They had that game won with straight up and against the spread. What happened? Drake May, I don't think he completed the pass in the third quarter. I think he completed 1 pass in the fourth quarter. And they just sat, and the look on Vrabel's face, he was pissed. I'm sure he had words with his team after. I'm telling you, he's the best thing that happened since Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, since they left. I know how can you put a coach up there? Well, you know what? Coaching is so important in the NFL. Back to the game. I'm rambling here. I haven't even made a YouTube video for my other channels, my first straight back, and so that should tell you how much I love the NFL. I'll wrap this game up. If you look at New England Patriots, after Tom Brady left, if you look at their records, they only won 4 games, whatever. They would win only 1 of them at home. The other 2 or 3 wins, or 4 wins, they got on the road. New England, they're 11-2 this year. Their 2 losses are at home. They're great on the road. They're unbeaten on the road. They had a habit like that when Tom Brady when they had the Super Bowl winners those years, the 6 times he won with New England. A couple of those years, they would be 8-0 on the 16-game schedule, would be 8-0 on the road and 5-3 at home, and their 3 losses would be at home. The 49ers did it too. Go look it up. Under Joe Montana, 8-0 at home and 5-3 at home. Their 3 losses, 2 of the 3 losses would be at home. Some teams just relax too much at home. And that might be New England Patriots' little weakness, if you want to call it a little weakness. You're asking New England Patriots to sweep this team. The Buffalo Bills beat them twice in 1 year. It's hard. A decent team an offensively capable team like Buffalo. I'm not saying it's not impossible. No. I'm sure there's been some rare occasions where it's happened a couple times. They got construction next door. I gotta get up and I gotta pause this because I got help with the sound. So bear with me. Hey, can you close that door? Thank you. Okay, I'm back. And next year, I'll be fading New England a lot. Drake May is going to turn into the pumpkin on the Cinderella story. I know he's had a good year this year, but New England's had one of the best, the safest, well, I shouldn't say safest, but the easiest schedule in the NFL. Division teams, they cycle with it against each other. So Buffalo's had a little bit of an easy schedule too, but I still think Buffalo's tested, and this is going to be a good test for New England. I'm not bashing my team. I'm just saying, I think, Drake May, I've seen him look bad in a couple of their wins. So we're taking Buffalo Bills for first game. Let's get to the second game. And it's Kansas City minus 4.5, and they're hosting Los Angeles Chargers. I have not watched the Charger game. I had to go to my relative's Christmas party, and I got to give a speech, and I'll just let it rest at that. I got my little cell phone to get on the ESPN NFL, and it looked like Philadelphia taking control of that game. The Chargers, they came back. It was a 3rd and 10. There was a bad penalty call or something. I'll watch it on the rewind when I'm feeling a little better. I emailed my friends, text my friends. They said that the Chargers were extremely lucky, and they said Philadelphia sacked them a bunch of times. I haven't looked it up yet, but Mush told me that they sacked him 7 times. And Mush, as bad as he may be, and a pretty good source, pretty accurate most of the time. And I didn't think Philadelphia would lose 3 in a row. And I had them for the Super, and I lost. So that's what I get for going against a home team on Monday Night Football. For decades, the Monday Night Football team, like 76% of the time. So it's 3 out of 4 games. I should have picked a different game. I made a bad pick. I think the Chargers got some problems. And Herbert was never really mobile in the first place. But Herbert, he's 6'5". He doesn't look it, but he's pretty sturdy. He's pretty strong. Patrick Mahomes got that bad knee, but he looked pretty good. And it lost to Texas. I mean, Mahomes, he doesn't give up. I'd rather take Mahomes, who's going to die first where he gives up. Herbert, he's okay. He's gotten better and better every year. Both teams got offensive line problems. And Kansas City just got theirs against the game against Texas, but still, the Chargers, for all you were trying to plug holes, and they caught up to them in the Eagles game. They got lucky to win that game. Chiefs, if you watch that Houston Texans game, that second half, their defense came out on, the best I've ever seen. I think it's the best I've ever seen Chiefs defense, but and they started sacking C.J. Stroud. They had like 3 straight 3-and-outs or something like that. They didn't do squat in that third quarter and part of the fourth quarter. And Chris Jones, they had the triple team that guy. He was just all over. He was in the backfield, and Chris Jones missed a couple tackles. That could have made a difference in that game, by the way. I know I won that game. We all won that game. But still, you want to think of ways how you could have lost that game. Well, if Chris Jones sacked C.J. Stroud on a couple of those near misses, it might have changed the game. So I'm looking for 4.5. That's still my only question. Is that too much of a number? Will Kansas City beat them in overtime by a field goal, like they did the Colts? I know 4.5 seems a little bit, but the Chargers, they can't move the ball. And again, I'm using another variable here. Chargers beat the Chiefs week 1, 27-21, I think it was. And I looked at that. I think the Chargers sacked Mahomes twice, and the Chiefs sacked Herbert 3 times. So it's pretty even. But that was back in week 1. Chargers defense has regressed a little bit. They don't get that many sacks anymore for whatever reason. I just think Kansas City will rise to the occasion. I think there's a good chance. I think they'll win the game. And I think if they're going to win the game, there's a good chance to cover that 4.5. I'm going to take Kansas City. Game number 3. We're taking the Washington Commanders plus 2.5. And there's one stat that really stands out to me why I'm taking this team. They got shut out last week. I believe it was Minnesota. 31-0, something like that. Team that got shut out the following week has covered the spread. I think they straight up and covered the spread. They won the game. So they're 4-0. So if that trend continues, they'll be 5-0. The division rivalry, I think the Giants get an interim coach. Washington Commanders, they got a coach that wants to stick around. He wants to keep his job. Quinn, he's a pretty good coach. He's okay. And both teams had bad luck injuries this year. And get 2 teams for even teams, and I'm getting 2.5 points, and maybe I'll get a 2-point game and I got a winner. Listen to a guy on a YouTube channel. He went 3-2 in the contest last week. He goes to Vegas. He's in the Las Vegas Hilton, the real super contest. And he lost by 2 hooks. Bears, and he lost by half point with the Bears. And then I can't remember the second game. We had 2 games lost by the hook. The lines are, those line makers, the line's pretty tight for most of the games. You got to give them credit. I'm going to take a shot at the Commanders. The 4th game, we're taking Seattle minus 13.5. They're hosting the Indianapolis Colts. If I can remember, I'll put it up here. But as soon as the guy got hurt last week, Daniel Jones, I went right to the pregame.com, make your picks, and I got Seattle minus 3.5 on the next week's line. So that's the first time this year I did that. So now I found another way to boost my score, just for bragging rights, but I still want to show people that I still got it. I think this is going to be the beatdown of the day. That's Shane Steichen. Now, how much faith are you going to have in his team and his coach, his head coach? He put his main man out there with a fractured tibula, bench him so he could recover for a few weeks. If he lets him recover or next year, whatever the process is to getting the guy healthy again, okay, then what happened the other week doesn't happen. He's putting all his stress on the other leg, and the other leg got the tendon problem. So how much faith you got in Shane Steichen? If he's the one that made this call to put that Daniel Jones back in there, I mean, shame on him. When he first was notified of the fractured tibia, he's supposed to get already thinking about getting backup quarterbacks and doing what they're going to do. So they're going to call out Philip Rivers, and he's 46 years old. He's in his mid-40s. I don't have the exact number. This reminds me when the Rams, before Sean McVay got the team turned around, they called Brett Favre. I think Brett Favre was 47 or 48. He was almost 50 years old, and they were going to call him in for a workout. I don't recall what happened, and exactly, I have to go look that up. But these teams, they get desperate, and they get somebody that's in his mid-40s or late 40s. You're asking for trouble. You're putting the guy in the spot that he's lost a full step. I don't like this thing about putting Philip Rivers in there. I think it's a bad deal, and I hope he doesn't get hurt. Even though I'm taking Seattle, I'm taking the home team, and I'm looking for a total beatdown. I don't think the Colts are going to score a point. They might get shut out. And Seattle's already got one shutout, right? I think Seattle's just going to beat them down. I just think they're just going to destroy them. This is a good way for them to pad the stats. And Seattle's going to keep trying. They're not going to let up. They need to catch the Rams. If you look at all the handicappers on YouTube and pregame.com and whatever else you want to look at, 9 out of 10 of them or higher, 93% of them, they got the Rams as the top-ranked team in the NFL. And Seattle's a close number 2. They might be the 2 best teams in the NFL right now. They're not going to let up. The Colts, I think, are done. They'll be lucky to win another game. And it's a great start for the great season. And I guess I owe Mark Lawrence an apology. He told me, and he was on his broadcast, the Colts are a fraud. So I went against them when they beat me. But I got him back. I won against the Colts next 2 weeks, and I won twice in a row against them. But still, he was right. They got to jump on people because Daniel Jones was playing good, but he came into the real earth. The regression to the mean, as they call it. I see a lot in baseball. I used to see a lot in baseball. They win 17 out of 18 games. Next thing you know, they lose the next 10. I saw it year after year after year. The Oakland A's did it. The Detroit Tigers, Baltimore Orioles did it. The Mets did it. These teams, they get these great runs, and they run out of gas, or doubles and triples and home runs turn into groundouts, pop-ups, and strikeouts. So anyway, I think Seattle's going to put the pedal to the metal. Okay, game number 5 and last one. We're taking Minnesota Vikings plus 5.5. I know the line's going against me. I saw a 6.5 this morning, and it's going against me. The line is fixed on the soup, and it's now Dallas is favored on a couple offshore things. I saw the 6.5, and by game time it might be 7. But I still like the Vikings. I think the Vikings defense is far better than Dallas defense. Yeah, I know Dallas beat me twice. They beat the Eagles and he beat the Chiefs. Within a 4-day span. If someone had told me that, I'd have laughed like I put in my post. I would have mocked them openly on pregame.com. Probably get kicked off again. Then when Dallas came down, their defense came down early. Dak Prescott's playing very, very well. I don't remember seeing him play a bad game this year, which is it's hard to do in the NFL. You're going to have come out flat or stub your toe and get your bell rung in the third quarter. It happens in the quarter. It happens to all of them. Tom Brady, Johnny Unitas, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning. You name the quarterback, they're all going to. They all can't throw to 130 rating every game. They just can't do it. It's impossible. Kurt Warner. I think Dallas defense is not going to give very many stops. And I know that J.J. McCarthy versus Dak Prescott's a total mismatch, which heavily favors the Cowboys. I got to say, I think Minnesota defense is going to try to save their game for them and keep Dallas from scoring 30 to 40 points. If they can hold Dallas to the 25 points or under, I think they can score enough to win this game. And I'm getting 5.5 points. Okay, I'll take an overtime field goal win with the points, but Dallas win the game with overtime, 27-24, I'll take it. I think 5.5 points is too many points for a team with a bad defense like that. Always great day to be an American. Long live the NFL. It's the greatest team sport, and it's the most important sport for coaching. Great coaching turn an average team into a winner every year, like Bill Belichick did. Patriots weren't all that great when he took them over. They won, 2 or 3 games when he took them over? They were horrible. But a couple of years, he turned them into a winner. I know Tom Brady's had a lot to do with that, But still, God bless America. Enjoy the games. See you next video.